Hi everyone. This year for CGen, I thought it was a good idea to make a video as the information is a little bit confusing. So I've been coming to CGen for many years, but this time the show week is more confusing, I think because of COVID and restrictions. So I thought I'd go through some information in a video to try to help. So everything I talk about next will be in paperwork that I'm about to email everyone. The first thing is the costume. I know that the people in dancing have already been emailed a while back what costume is needed, but I've just put a reminder in there. For signing choir, you need black pants or black skirt. They must be plain black shoes and black socks. So it means there can't be any pattern, can't have any logo on them or different colours. So for the shoes, you can't have different coloured laces. So for a choir, it's all about everyone looking the same on their clothing. And for a t-shirt, you'll use your pink complimentary t-shirt that everyone's been given on the last day of school at Toowong, if you're a Toowong student, or if you're in Indooroopilly, you'll get it when you're at your first day at Southbank. So, as well as those costumes, it's really important that you bring a change of clothes that are really warm. It gets very cold there, especially when we are walking from the drop-off and pick-up area and when we go out to dinner. It's really cold. I know students often say they can't feel the cold, but it's very important that over all of those days you stay warm. Can I please ask that everyone brings a zip-up jacket? Now, the reason for that is because some people might need makeup for the dance or neat hair for all of the performances. So if you bring a jumper and pull it down, it can mess that up. But the reason that zip-up's really good is because you can go and do your rehearsal or your performance and then come backstage and you put on your zip-up jacket and then you can eat. So in the past, we've had many times students forget to put on their jackets and they eat something, maybe something with sauce on it, and it goes straight on their special t-shirt that they need to wear and it's wrecked. And because it's such a busy schedule, you don't have time to go home and wash it, and often particular stains don't come out anyway. So please bring a zip-up jacket. So there are a few different groups coming to CGen with Toowong this year. We have a few students who are dancing only. We have a few students who are dancing and in signing choir. Then our third group is signing choir only from Toowong. And then our fourth group is signing choir from Indooroopilly High, which is awesome. And then we have Mariba School who are joining us from Cairns, which is wonderful. We had them 2 years ago and it was a fantastic addition. They have deaf students at their school as well up in Cairns. So they're flying all the way down, staying in Southbank. So it should be a wonderful experience for us all to meet and join together. And they're actually visiting Toowong on the Monday. So also on your paperwork is a summary of times required. So when it says dancers, I've highlighted it yellow. When it's signing choir, it's green. So there's one page with just a summary for start times. That's the time you'll meet, and then finish times. Now, what's a little bit frustrating is this year it's a little bit different because of COVID. So the organisers are trying to restrict how many people are at Southbank at the same time, which means on those first few days they want people to only come for a little bit of time for their practice. In past years, all the students would come for the full day and they'd sit around and they'd watch the other performances practice. Obviously, positive and negatives about that. Positives are that everyone could be dropped off at the same time. They could watch the other performances. Negatives is that they're very long days in the lead up as well. So we just need to accept what they've asked because of COVID restrictions. In a different video, I'll explain for the few people who are dancing only, you have slightly different things for the end of the day that you need to do. Okay, dinner information. So every year for 2 nights, we have a break time for dinner. So that is when staff are happy to supervise students go out to a restaurant and students buy their food there. And that's usually about 2 hours. So on the Thursday, it's 1.5 hours. On the Friday, it's 2 hours. Students bring their own money and they buy food. Now, both nights we are going to Grilled for ease. We have booked, I think there's a whole top area. So we've booked that. I put on the link to the website with the menu, and they recommend there's a for the kids section. So they recommend a few things there to order. So you can give money to your child to have in their bag, or you can hand it straight to a staff person to look after for the whole day if you're worried about them losing the money. It's also a good idea to maybe write down what you'd like them to order. And if you could let staff know of any restrictions. So if you really don't want your child drinking soft drink, or you don't want them to have dessert, or you're happy for them to have dessert, if you could let us know, that would be great. It just makes things easier if we see them going off to buy Coke and things and we think, oh, I don't think that their parents want them to have Coke. But it's difficult to monitor if we don't know. Sometimes after dinner we go, if we've had enough time, in the past we've gone to the ice cream shop. So if you could let us know if you're happy for them to have it, or if you put in extra money for ice cream, just let us know. There's also a food shop in the backstage area that's open for a few hours. And I put the menu in there of what they have. Unfortunately, if you have a nut allergy, please bring your own food to eat, because they can't guarantee that there's no traces of nuts. For when you can bring a packed lunch as well, but there's absolutely no nuts allowed, no nut products at all. That is for the whole of CGen, but also very important as we do have a person with a nut allergy in our group. So, as I said, don't bring nuts, don't bring things like hair dryers or electrical things, don't bring chewing gum. You can't order outside food delivery, so you can't have pizzas delivered. Don't wear any clothing that has offensive labels on it. Please don't bring jewelry or valuable things, because you could lose them. Don't have phones or iPads on backstage. I understand if some people want to bring them to contact their parents at the end of the day, that's fine. But backstage, they need to stay in a bag. They are very strict about not filming other children. That's very important. So please do not plan to take out a camera or a phone and film other children. It's not going to be acceptable. What you can bring. Now, everything that you bring, please label it. It's really important. Every year we have a mountain of lost property, and we'll actually hold up things like T-shirts and say, whose is this? And all the kids say, no, I've never seen that before. And it's one of theirs, and they've just totally forgotten that it's theirs. So please label everything. As I said, bring really warm clothing, bring your costumes. And we're asking, if possible, if you can have them in a bag, because kids go to get changed and then they just put down things like their socks or their ribbon and they leave them there. If you can have a bag and maybe a list of things that the student has brought with them, then they could, when they pack up, put in their bag, they could look and say, yep, I've got my ribbon, tick. I have my black pants, tick. And they can just check, rather than hours later when they go, oh, actually, I forgot, I don't know where my ribbon is. And if they put it on the ground, then any of the other 100 people who have brought a ribbon might assume it's theirs and pick it up. So a checklist would be great, and a bag's really important, a spare bag. Please bring enough food and water. The days can be very, very long. Please bring, as I said, money to buy food from the canteen if you're not bringing a packed lunch. In the past years, students have gone out to try to use the vending machines to get chocolates and chips and things like that. They're often broken, which means students put in money and then nothing comes out, and kids are very upset they've lost their money. So we are not going to use the vending machines this year. Please bring things like, you can bring a pillow. Often kids like to lie down, especially in the late night. Blankets you can bring as long as they can carry them. So if you can fold them up, that's great. Books, magazines, games, puzzles, cards, any quiet activities, because there's big break times. If your child needs medication or might need medication, please make sure it has a chemist label on it that says the child's name and how often they can have the medication and how many or mils of the medication they can have. Every year, about 5 students get a really bad headache, and if they don't have Panadol or Nurofen with them, it means that we have to phone parents, and the parents need to come in and give the Panadol to the child. So it's frustrating for the family. So if you think my child often gets headaches, then it's a really good idea to send some Panadol with the label on it already and hand that straight to the staff person to look after. Okay, so there's a menu, as I said, of food there and what times it's open. For transport, carpooling is strongly recommended. So that means organising with other families, saying, okay, who wants to take 5 of these children and drop them off? Who's happy to pick them up in the afternoon or the night? That will just save a lot of time, a lot of money on parking. But we have put in there the car parking prices. Also, the train, the South Brisbane train station is very close to where we're meeting. And the busway is really close as well. The City Cat terminal is actually quite far now, so because the other one's being renovated. So I'd recommend either train or bus or carpooling. And I've tried to put some maps in there to make it easier for you to understand. But if you have time before show week starts, I recommend going for a little drive to have a look where to go. So for arrival and pickup, in the past, we were allowed to drop people at the performance area at the convention centre. But we can't now because of COVID. They're worried about the crowding and things like that. So they asked us to pick a particular area to meet our schools. So we've picked under the ABC sign. So it's right near the Ferris wheel. There is a street where you can drive and turn around. It's called Russell Street. So you'll look up, you'll see the big Ferris wheel, and just there is an ABC company, and there's a sign. So if we can meet there, please. I've put pictures in there of what that looks like. So if you think you're going to be late, it's really important that you text me to let me know, because we're looking after such a big group of children, and if you're going to be really late, it means the whole group will be late for the rehearsal. And this year we only get one practice on the stage, so it's very important that we don't miss that rehearsal. Okay, so hopefully the map makes it very clear as to where to meet. When you pull around and drop off your child with all their things, please make sure that a staff member has seen you, given you a thumbs up, and marked the child off before you leave. That's really important. Same as pickup. Many years, parents have just grabbed their child, walked off, and we look around and we say, where's the child? And we have to quickly contact parents. They say, oh, sorry, yeah, I took my child. It's really important that we know, particularly in the dark, and we're managing a big group. So supervision is very, they're very careful about supervision. So we sign in the child as we go in with a QR code into the backstage area, and parents aren't allowed back there. So if there's an emergency, please just contact a staff member by phone. Text is best. because we're looking after a large group of kids. Taking phone calls sometimes difficult, especially if we're backstage. The phone needs to be on silent, so we can look down and see a text, but we often can't answer a phone call. The performance times have been summarised in there just for you to know. And then we have a timetable. Okay, so mine's not colour because I didn't have any colour printing at home, but the one you get through on the email will be colour. So yellow are the dancers, green is sign and choir, and blue means everyone. Okay, so on the left column, it also says what costume is expected for each day. So, for example, on the first Tuesday, you only need your pink CGen shirt, okay? You don't need to worry about other costumes. But on the Wednesday, you need full costume, but you don't need to worry that makeup and hair is perfect. I should say for sign and choir as well, there's no makeup required. So we have different arrival times depending on the group, and some days they're the same. So, for example, on Tuesday, it says that dancers arrive at 9:40. That's near that Ferris wheel at the ABC sign. But later at 11:30, sign and choir arrive. Okay, and we're all getting picked up that day at 2:30, back at the ABC sign. Okay, so if you're in both sign and choir and dance, you will arrive when the dancers arrive. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Then we put in the different items on there as well, but it's easiest to follow your arrival time and your pickup time. So then on the Thursday, Friday, we've put in information about dinner as well and performance times. On the right column, it's got who are the supervising staff, but we'll add more about that later. We're still trying to confirm times and availability of other support staff, but they'll always have an interpreter there and extra staff. I've also put some pictures at the end for what different areas look like. So one is called the concourse, and that's really just the carpeted area outside the backstage. So when you arrive at the performance venue, you have the Great Hall, which is where the performance happens. Then you have the backstage areas, which are the exhibition halls, and they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the concourse is the carpet area at the front. It's a little bit confusing. So it's a lot of information to take in, but it's a really wonderful experience for students, especially if they've not performed in different events before. They get to experience what backstage looks like, so all the staff with their little walkie-talkies and checking on items and being prepared to go out and perform on stage. There's the big lights and it's all very exciting and professional. So I hope they have a wonderful experience. We really hope that it's not cancelled because of COVID. We haven't heard any more information about that. We'll just let you know as it happens. It's a good idea to follow CGen on the Facebook page, Creative Generation, as that will help you. I'll make another little video for the few people who are dancing only, as you have slightly different instructions for the end of the day. Thanks.